Yo, what is going on, Headliner Nation? Kyle back with the Fantasy Headliners, and we've got one heck of a video for you today. If you haven't heard yet, the Fantasy Headliners and Fantrax are partnering up for the 2021 NFL season. And a part of that partnership is going to be our Best Ball Challenge that is not only free for you to enter, but it comes with a cash prize of $1,000, ladies and gentlemen. That is right. If you have not had a chance to get in on this yet, then let me go ahead and walk you through the process, show you the league, and kind of break down, for those of you that might be new to best ball or maybe not that familiar with it, how you construct a good best ball roster. All right. So first and foremost, how do you get in on this tournament? Well, head over to fantrax.com/headliners. Okay. That is first and foremost the most important thing that you need to do. fantrax.com/headliners, and then that allows us to basically track how many people we have signing up. It lets them know, hey, the Fantasy Headliners sent me over to Fantrax, and Fantrax knows all that information. So if you are able to do this right here is the way to go. fantrax.com/headliners. When you're there, create your free account. And after you do both of those things, come back here to this video. And if you look in the description down below my beautiful face, you're going to see a link to our Best Ball Challenge. You're going to click on that, and that's going to take you in to this screen right here. This is the home screen for our Best Ball Challenge this season. Now, as I mentioned a minute ago, right? Best Ball is different. Some of you out there may never have played in a best ball league. You may not know a whole lot about best ball. You might not know how to construct a best ball team. It is different than how you would go about a normal redraft league. Now, one thing that we did this year in our draft guide, we included best ball rankings. If we're going to host a best ball competition, we need to have some best ball rankings. So the draft guide, which comes out on July 1st, is going to have that information in there. Well, to put together a best ball team, it's all about upside, all right? For best ball leagues, what happens is you basically draft a large roster, and then your lineup is set weekly based on how many points people score. So for instance, if you're playing in a league that you have to start 2 running backs, you might draft 5 running backs, and your top 2 scoring running backs from that week will be the 2 that are inserted into your lineup. You don't have to go in and set your lineup. This does it for you. Best ball is fun because I think it complements redraft quite a bit, right? We all have tons of redraft leagues that we play in. We love redraft. We want to set our roster and things like this. But throwing in some best ball competitions every season is a lot of fun too, because it's not a whole lot of work. And like this one, you could win a little bit of money. So let's jump into it and take a look at what it means to construct a best ball roster. And you'll get to see the roster that I'm going to be putting together for this challenge. Now, one thing I want everybody to just note here really quick before we go too much further, there is a poll up on the main page right now under league polls. You can see it here because we have had a couple of questions. The way this league was originally built, it was a free-for-all, right? You can add any players that you want to, all right? There's going to be upwards of 600 people in this league. If we get to 600, we're going to open up another one, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you worry. There's going to be plenty of room this year. But because we weren't really anticipating how many people would be excited, and we already have, what's it say here, 239 people, we decided to take a look at it. So instead of all 600 people having Patrick Mahomes in their lineup, which you could do right now, this is going to potentially put in a salary cap. So each player is going to be worth a certain amount of money, and you're going to have a salary cap that you have to meet. This is going to make the rosters a little bit more interesting, and it's not going to allow you to just put in every single top player that you want to. So we are letting the people vote on this. Okay, we're going to let the poll go for the next 24 hours or so. So depending on when you come into this video, the setup might be a little bit different when you come in, but we're going to talk about the way it looks right now. And then if we do end up changing it and there is a salary cap to be instituted, then you'll see that, and then I'll redo another one later on or whatever and go through kind of what that is going to look like. But you can change your team as much as you want to up until week 1 kicks off. So just because you set your lineup now doesn't mean anything. You can keep coming in. If someone gets hurt, you come in and you change your player, whatever you need to do. So we're going to take a look at how I would do that. Now, one thing you always want to make sure that you do when you come into any type of a league, right? You're going to want to make sure that you go through, look at everything, come in here, maybe check out the league rules summary page. And what's going to happen here, these are going to be the maximum limits that you can have on your roster, okay? So if you look at this, it's going to show basically you can have a maximum of 31 players. However, or excuse me, 30 players, but you can only have a roster size of 30, okay? So these are the max. So let's say you want to draft only 4 quarterbacks, but you want to draft 8 running backs and 11 wide receivers. So you can change your lineup a little bit on how you want to. If you want to go a little bit heavier on one position, you can. If you want to go a little bit heavier in another position, you can. Now, each week, these players are only going to go, again, even if you draft 5 quarterbacks, your top 2 scoring quarterbacks are going to be the ones that are inserted into your lineup every single week. Same goes for running back. And then 3 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. There's going to be 3 flex players, 1 kicker, and 1 defense. Okay? So that's how this league is set up. It's a little bit different in terms of maybe what you've seen before. And we did that because, again, we want some parity, right? We don't want everybody to have the same players and the same lineups every single week. We need to separate it a little bit. So this makes your lineups go a little bit deeper. And it might even change again. If they do end up changing this over, we've talked with Fantrax about it. We want to see what everybody else wants because we had a bunch of people reach out and say, hey, can we do this instead? And we're a channel for the people, right? We say that over and over. If you all want something, we're going to try and do it. So we decided to go to Fantrax. They're talking about it. We're talking about it. And we'll see what happens. The scoring is down here. All right. So you can go through and you can see all the scoring that you want to. It's set up in a half PPR format. Obviously, there's no draft, so you can admit that. But the max number of players on a team is 21. Again, so let's take a look at our team real quick. So this is your team page here. This is where you'll see lineups and everything set every single week. Again, 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. And then you won't see it here, but there are 3 flex spots and then a kicker and a team defense. So let's get ready to pick our players. Let's go in here to pick my players. And again, if you're looking at it right now, it's going to say 0 of 30 because you're going to have, again, the maximum. Basically, it's showing the maximum at each position, but your entire team can only have 21 players. So make sure that you understand that going into it, because if you try to set your lineup over here, it's going to say, oh, you've exceeded 21 players. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into that. Me personally, because quarterbacks aren't hurt nearly as often as we see some other positions, I'm not going to go as heavy at quarterback as what somebody else was. I'm definitely not going to keep 5 quarterbacks. And there are several quarterbacks that you can choose from. Number 1, we're going to go with Patrick Mahomes. Why? Because he's the best quarterback in the league. Everybody's going to have Patrick Mahomes. So it might not do us a whole lot of good right now if the format stays the same, but we're still going to go ahead and run with him because if everybody has Patrick Mahomes, we want to make sure that we're keeping up with the best quarterback in the league. We're also going to go with Kyler Murray. And not only are we going to go with Kyler Murray, we're going to go Lamar Jackson, and we're going to go Josh Allen. So we're going to go with 4 quarterbacks, 4 of the top quarterbacks. What do I want in my quarterbacks? Well, I want guys outside of Patrick Mahomes that have rushing upside, okay? Because again, best ball is all about maximizing your potential points every single week, okay? You want to look for guys with high upside. Yeah, you're going to have some top tier players, but you also want to sprinkle in a few guys that are kind of off the radar that have the potential to absolutely blow up in any given week, because those are the guys that could set you apart, okay? Those are the guys that, yeah, they might not be as consistent as some of the top players, but they have such a high ceiling that you want to be able to get those points every single week. And that helps sets your roster apart from everybody else. So you want to make sure that you do that. So for me, I'm going to go with the 3 quarterbacks outside of Patrick Mahomes that have the most rushing upside. And if you want to, I mean, you could go Jalen Hurts or Russell Wilson as well. If you want to be really different, Tom Brady over maybe Patrick Mahomes, it wouldn't be that big of an issue. Again, I'm going with Patty M because I want to keep up with the other people who are going to have him. But Tom Brady is going to be another great example of somebody that could have a really high ceiling. Obviously, last year's MVP. Aaron Rodgers is a good choice. Dak Prescott's going to be throwing a whole lot, so he wouldn't be a bad choice. Justin Herbert comes in there. So lots of different guys that you can add at quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and go with 4. Since it starts 2 every single week, I'm going to go with 4. Now, I'm probably going to go with more running backs than I would wide receivers. And for my running backs, I basically want to add the guys that have the highest ceiling on any given week. Dalvin Cook's my running back 1, so I'm going to add him. I'm also going to go with Aaron Jones because we've seen Aaron Jones. The guy can absolutely just dominate in any given game, right? I would also encourage you. Now, I'm going to be going up against you all in this. No, I'm not eligible for the money. If I win, it goes to another team. So don't worry about that. But Aaron Jones going over, somebody else, listen, give me as many running backs as possible here because you get 3 flex spots. I want potentially every single week 3 running backs in those flex spots. So I'm going to go with the maximum 8 running backs here and really, really bring those guys into play. So Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, 100%, both of those guys, right? Christian McCaffrey, you're going to want to put on your roster. He has a lot of upside. We're going to go with Derrick Henry as well because it's DH. You put DH on your team, okay? I am going to go ahead and skip on Alvin Kamara on this one. Why? Because last year when Taysom Hill was a starting quarterback, he absolutely forgot about him in the passing game. I am worried that Hill's going to see way too many snaps this year, and that could limit some of the upside on a weekly basis from Alvin Kamara. So I am going to skip on him right now. We're going to scroll down a little bit. I'm also going to go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire here, okay? CEH is basically a forgotten commodity right now because of his season last year. But that's nobody's fault other than those truthers that absolutely hyped him beyond belief last year. That's the problem. People put him up in the mid-first round last year in drafts, and because he disappointed so much, you're like, oh, no. And now he's slipped all the way back into the 3rd round. Give me some CEH. 2nd year in that offense. He doesn't really have to compete with a whole lot of people. And my monster running back video the other day talking about guys that are going to get the highest volume this season, I put CEH in there because he doesn't have a whole lot of competition for touches. Give me some CEH this year. Also going to go with Nick Chubb. Why am I going to go with Nick Chubb? Because Nick Chubb is a beast, okay? That's a very good defense. That defense could be top 10. If it is, you're going to see Nick Chubb getting rushing attempt after rushing attempt after rushing attempt. I am also going to go with, and this might shock some of you, Austin Eckler. This is a half PPR format, and Austin Eckler in the passing game will be utilized this year quite often, all right? So Austin Eckler in a half PPR format, absolutely 100% locking him in. Now, a guy like somebody might say, well, I want Najee Harris. Najee Harris has a safe floor because of the volume, but he doesn't have as high as a ceiling as some of these other guys because of how terrible his offensive line is. That is a problem, okay? That is a problem. Now, if we go into the format that's going to require some sort of a cap, and we'll talk about that. If it does, I'll do another video on that. If it does, and I do the other video, that might change. My mindset might think there. But as of right now with this, that's what we're going with. So I've got 7 running backs there. I'm actually going to leave that for right now. I'm going to leave that for right now. We're going to talk about wide receivers. Now, remember, you can start up to 5, or you can start 3 wide receivers guaranteed every single week. But there's 3 other flex spots that they could potentially fall into. So we need to absolutely be able to cover our 3 spots. So we have to have, in my opinion, at least 6 wide receivers. But we'll probably end up going over that as well. And we'll probably go with maybe a less number on the tight end and maybe on the team defense and the kicker as well. But Mr. Big Play himself, Tyreek Hill. We're absolutely going to go with Tyreek Hill 100% there, okay? We know Tyreek Hill and some of those. I mean, we saw last year, right? The dude absolutely exploded against a team like Tampa Bay in the regular season. We're going to go with Stephon Diggs. That connection there with Josh Allen on the deep ball is just way too much to pass up. Going to go with Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is an absolute beast. He has the opportunity to be the wide receiver 1 this year. We've talked about it already. A lot of questions. Well, without Julio Jones, is he really going to be the guy? He can be. He was last year. When Julio Jones has missed games last year, Calvin Ridley was a wide receiver 1 consistently throughout that time. So 100%. Calvin Ridley is a beast. We're going to run with him there because his upside with the amount of volume and how much they are going to have to throw with that probably poor defense this year is going to make him a high upside play every single week. We're going to go with A.J. Brown now. A.J. Brown's floor might be coming down a little bit because of the Julio Jones trade. But even over the last 2 years, we have seen A.J. Brown be very, very efficient, very, very efficient on the deep ball. That's what I want. You're not going to be able to double team. A.J. Brown anymore. He's going to get a lot of single coverage this year. It's going to allow a lot of big plays to happen. A.J. Brown is perfect in a best ball format. Now, I'm definitely going to get a little bit different with some things here. I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb, okay? I think that Amari Cooper is going to be the safest wide receiver in that offense, but CeeDee Lamb is a more dynamic playmaker, and they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. He's probably going to be in the slot more times than not. I think Amari Cooper is going to see a decent amount of volume with some of those big plays, maybe tick back down a little bit, maybe some red zone receptions. But CeeDee Lamb is really going to be the guy in that offense that's going to have absolutely huge plays on a weekly, consistent basis, and I want him on my roster. Again, we have to kind of make things a little bit different, right? We don't want to be the same as everybody else, okay? So we're going to go with DJ Moore. I've got some fun DJ Moore stuff coming up in a video later this offseason because of his connection potentially with Sam Darnold. I like what he could do if they move him into the slot more often this year, and I do believe that they will be if Terrace Marshall Jr. is healthy by the time the season starts. And again, you can come back here and change this. So if we find out at the beginning of the year that maybe Terrace Marshall isn't ready to go and some things go out the window and you've got whatever it may be, okay, you can come in here and change this if you want to grab somebody else. Also going to go with Tyler Lockett. Why are we going to go with Tyler Lockett? I talked about it in a video already this season or this offseason. Tyler Lockett for me is a guy that I'm skipping on in redraft leagues. I am not skipping on him. In fact, actually, I just misspoke. He's in the draft guide. My bad. So if you want to know more about Tyler Lockett, thefantasyheadliners.com, there's a link down below. It comes out on the 1st of July. 600 pages, only $20. So anyway, I talk about Tyler Lockett in the draft guide this year. But he's got like 5-6 games over the past couple of years where he's got multiple touchdowns and over 100 yards. He can explode at any point in time. That is the definition of best ball. Mike Evans as well for me. I don't think his volume is going to be the same that we've seen in years past, but because they have so many weapons there, you're never going to be able to double team Mike Evans. Him and Tom Brady were on the same exact page last year in terms of the deep play, so I expect that to continue this year. Mike Evans is a very solid option in best ball format. So now for the wide receivers, we are up to 8 out of 12. So let's go ahead and move over to tight end now. And the thing about tight end, we're not going to be able to get too fancy here, especially in this format. Now, if we change it, and again, there's this cap that we have to work around, then at that point, things will be a little bit different. Right now, we just got to go with Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, 2 of the guys with the highest ceiling every single week. I'm also going to go with TJ Hawkinson because of his volume upside this year. That's absolutely what I want to have. When you get down here, there's not going to be a whole lot of guys that you want other than, boom, right here. I'm going to add Kyle Pitts, okay? I'm going to add Kyle Pitts as well. I'm going to make those guys, I'm going to lock them in here. The reason I'm skipping over George Kittle, though, is because of his injury concerns the last couple of years. Let's go into kicker and team defense. For kickers, I want the kickers on the teams that I think are going to score the most points. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to score a ton of points this year. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to score a ton of points this year. And then also, where else are we? I want to go with, if I can find him, Tennessee, Tucker McCann. I'm going to go with 3 kickers here. Tucker McCann from Tennessee. We know they're going to put up a lot of points. All right, and again, I want to be different. I want some different guys on my team. Team defense, I'm just going to go with 2. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I'm going to go with Cleveland. I don't think I need to have any more than that at this point. So let's see what we have here. We've got, let's go back up. It'll tell us right here. We've got 23 out of 30. So we actually need to remove somebody. All right, who do we want to remove? Let's talk about this here for a second. I think we're going to remove DJ Moore from our wide receivers, and we're going to go with these right here. I think we're going to also remove, since we've got Kelsey, Waller, Hawkinson, we're going to remove Hawkinson because he's safe, right? He's super safe, but Pitts probably has a little bit more upside, and we're going to roll with this right here. This is the lineup we're going to go with. Let's go ahead and lock this in, submit that. Did we go over the players, though? Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Does this say... I thought that said 21 there. Maybe my eyesight is just really, really bad. So we have a lot more that we have to get rid of. Okay, let's go back. So we're going to take out Austin Eckler. We are going to take out CeeDee Lamb. We are going to take out... Let's get super crazy. We're going to take out Patrick Mahomes. I want to be different than everybody else. If Mahomes has a bad week for some reason, I want to be different. Okay, that's what we have to be here. We're going to take out a kicker too. We don't need 3 kickers, right? So now we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. Oh, we're 1 person over. Okay, so this gets a lot harder. So we're going to take out Derrick Henry. Great floor every single week, obviously. Maybe some of that ceiling is missing. Oh, that's why. Offense, it says out. The offense is different from the kickers and the team defense. That's why. My bad there. I just misread that. So let's go ahead and lock that in there. There we go. Now we are officially saved. Let's go over here to our team. Let's take a look at who we have on our roster. So with quarterbacks, we only went with 3. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Kyler Murray. Okay, are the guys that we're going with there. Let's see here. Let me just see if you go back to pick my players. Okay, it does show it there. So we're only going with 3 quarterbacks there. So we're going with, click on the wrong tab, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. At running back, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Aaron Jones, Christian McCaffrey. At wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley. At tight end, Travis Kelce, Kyle Pitts, Darren Waller. At kicker, Harrison Butker, Ryan Sukup, and team defense, Cleveland and Tampa Bay. And that is going to put us at our 21 for the Fantasy Headliners Best Ball Challenge. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if for some reason we do end up changing it up, we're asking everybody right now, we're going to see what they have to say. If we want to go with more of a salary cap-based challenge, because then at that point, it'll really make the teams different. We'll redo another video, and I'll go more in depth with you about that, because that's when we definitely need to start finding guys further down the list that can be of a lot of help to us. So, Headliner Nation, hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Now you have a better understanding of best ball, how to get into this best ball challenge. Remember, you go to fantrax.com/headliners, create your free account, do that first, then come back to this video. There's a link down below, and then you can get in on the challenge yourself. Headliner Nation, I appreciate you all. Thanks so much. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you will be jumping into the best ball challenge or if you have already done so. Make sure you hit that like button, and if you're new here to the Fantasy Headliners, hit the subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to peace on out of here. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.